meantime, let's have a quick rattle through the papers this morning with former advisor to Boris Johnson, Oscar Redrop, and broadcaster Liz Kershaw. Morning, you two. Oscar, let's have a look at the Star to start with, and Bunk Off Friday.
After hearing a whole segment on strikes, it feels awful to start talking about a story where a lot of workers and office workers today are said to be pouring out of work a lot early to go watch the World Cup. It feels a bit kind of... It doesn't sit well. But serious point on it is, I think that the politics of this World Cup, I think in some ways quite rightly dominated the headlines. And I think we're starting to see the slight kind of World Cup fever, the joy that, you know, national sport can bring to people. I think we've had it very, very tough. You know, you just flick through the headlines, as I'm sure we'll do very shortly, and it's tough news everywhere you look. And I think there is just something, I mean, for me personally, there is not a simple pleasure like it for me than probably getting out of work a little bit early, meeting up with my friends and watching England play. And I think it's been such a political World Cup, as I said, maybe quite rightly actually, that we've had those discussions. But I think it'd be really nice now if we can kind of just get swept up in the joy of it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't usually care that much about football, and I think the fact that it's in Qatar is reprehensible.
Yeah, it's wrong. It
but wouldn't it be great if our teams did well, because it might give us a little bit of the feel-good factor, and my goodness, we need that.
Absolutely.
Yes, not a bad thing if that were to happen. No feel-good factor for Royal Mail workers, though, in the Mirror, Liz.
No, I understand the feel-good factor, and I agree, and I think one of the qualities of leadership is that you motivate people and you bring some joy into their life and give them some inspiration and a reason to get up in the morning, and that's what's lacking in our politicians. It shouldn't be up to Harry Kane and the lads. We really haven't got any motivational leaders, I don't think. Anyway, Royal Mail. So I thought this weekend, because of these upcoming strikes, I'm going to sit down and write me Christmas cards. And then I thought...
Old-fashioned, real
Christmas cards, because they're so nice to receive and they're so nice to keep. And I keep my cards for a year, and then when it's Christmas again, I bring them out. And then, sadly, you come across a card that's been written to you by somebody who's no longer alive, and it's nice to keep the last card you got from your grandma or an old family friend or something. Anyway, so yeah, I'm still into cards, but I thought I'll cut down this year. I'm only going to send them to people I've actually had dealings with this year. And that was before I don't know how much stamps are. You just go in, don't you? Anyway, I'm absolutely shocked to find that a first-class stamp is now 95 pence.
Crumbs, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And a second-class stamp is 68p. So when you factor in the cost of the card and the stamp, you're talking about a lot, like, maybe 100 quid. Yeah. So there's a reason for this, isn't there? And that's because Royal Mail was privatised. When something belongs to the people, the state, then any excess over cost over income goes back into the pot and could possibly go to the workers. But when it's privatised, that's for a reason. It's because the people who've bought it want to cream money off. So you're always going to want the biggest margin possible, and they've now got a 95p first class stamp. It was inevitable. It should never have been privatised, and it's competing with, it's supposed to be a treasured brand, and it's competing with all these companies coming into the country, Dutch, American, etc., and competing for the business, which you could say was healthy, but...
Christian Leyland says the Royal Mail's being driven out of business by the unions. They've learned nothing from the coal industry.
Well, here's some figures then from the Mirror. The biggest shareholder in Royal Mail took is worth 3 billion, and last year £2 billion was paid to since privatisation, £2 billion has been paid to shareholders. That $2 billion would either not have been made because the prices would have been lower, or would have been enjoyed by the workforce or the state. So I just think it's really sad, and it's going to be the end, isn't it, of the Christmas card?
Your excuses out of the way. So if you don't get a Christmas card
from Liz, yeah.
Well, she's telling you why now.
Yeah, just say hello to my friend Trixie in North Wales, who's a big fan of Oscars. I'd just like to say, Trixie, you won't be getting a card this year. Will you still be sending me one?
I've written all my cards.
Oh, that's
I went went to the post office.
Hopefully it made the cut.
I went.
Not even December yet.
I went to the post office and bought 50 first class stamps.
Yeah.
That would have been
50
quid
quid.
or something.
It
Yeah.
was 45 quid.
Yeah.
And you just, I mean,
I think I'll hand deliver. I'll pop it through your box.
oh, will you?
It's interesting that, I mean, I find that the whole concept of the Royal Mail and feeling that it is still the Royal Mail,
Yeah.
though it's... Sheila says it's heartbreaking to hear what's happening to Royal Mail. It is great to chat with your local postie. Is this a very British thing? Is it?
In
America.
In lockdown, the only person that we saw in a day after day after day, weeks, months, we never saw the milkman because he came at 3 o'clock in the morning, but the post lady coming through the gate was our only respite from isolation.
Well, Patricia says, I support our postie. We've got 3 brilliant postmen locally. They're trustworthy and were so kind when I was ill. They know where to leave stuff when I'm not home. It's sad to see how they're being let down.
Yeah.
And as I said last week, our post lady does not want to strike.
Well, none of them do
But
they?
then I think being a postie in a village where you're pottering around and you know everybody is easier than a city centre.
Well, maybe. Look, we're out of time.
Oh, that's ridiculous, you.
Sorry.
If we just carry on
Keep waffling on
regardless.
because you want us to, Liz Kershaw. But we will see you a little bit later on. Liz, Oscar, thank you very much indeed.
Ridiculous or not, do it, I'm afraid. So there's lots more to come. All your weather. We'll bring you the news headlines after this.